Hi, I'm Jessica Lahr, and welcome to another edition of FLX Weekly here on Wednesday, January 17th, 2018, excuse me. 2018. We're live inside the FingerLakes1.com studio, and joining me today is Jim Sinicropi and Josh Durso.
Here we are.
I could barely say 17, and then I said 17 the right way, but it's the wrong year.
I haven't done that this year at
That
all.
was the first time.
I haven't done it at all.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I've just
know.
been on point with that.
Like writing it and everything.
Oh, I've miswritten it probably
I haven't even done that.
a dozen times.
Leave it to when we're live on camera.
I'm also done wishing people Happy New Year. It's the 17th. So.
Yeah, I think
Is that
it's time.
the halfway mark? Is that when it
cut off?
officially
Well, we're like
becomes
2.5% through the year. So
right? All right.
I don't know when it
That's
stops
one way to
becoming
look
new.
at it. Yeah.
Well, look at that. 2018 almost closed out already.
That's right. Yeah. 2.5.
Time to start thinking about Christmas.
Stop. I'll just keep my decorations up then.
Did you take them down
I
yet?
don't have them all down yet, no.
Wow, that's incredible.
I know.
Now we're lingering
It's like a
into
record.
some. That's wow.
I know, it's bad. No
3
judgment,
weeks.
okay?
3 weeks. You're
I'm a
getting into
festive
judgment
gal.
territory.
I know. They're coming down this weekend. I just have not had time. Oh, goodness. Well, it's the Women's March in Seneca Falls on Saturday.
Yeah.
Getting ready for that.
Last
It's a big
year,
weekend.
like, we knew that the Women's March was happening. Women March. It's not women's. It's Women
Women March.
Women March in Seneca Falls. So we were covering it and everything, and then next thing you know, there was 10,000 people there, and
amazing.
the throughway was blocked off, and it was it was just amazing. It was
Yes.
huge.
Yes.
And so I thought at the time, well, this was great. It was good for Seneca Falls, and it was just quite a spectacle, and the weather
Right.
was really warm too. But I thought, okay, well, that was good. But come to find out, they're going to have it every year. And
That's
so
great.
then my initial thought was, it'll never be as big as last year. And then
Come on.
yesterday we had the event organizer, Melina Carnicelli, in studio, and she said that they're expecting as many or maybe more. But they're
yeah.
prepared. They have shuttle buses, and we'll have all those details in a little bit here on the show.
We'll
So.
share those details. Great. Okay.
Frost Fest, remember that?
Yes, the Frost Fest.
Yeah.
Great event. And this week's episode is sponsored by the Geneva Family YMCA and the 4th annual Frost Fest fundraiser to be held on Saturday, February 3rd from 5 to 9 p.m. It's at the Ramada Inn, Geneva Lakefront. Frost Fest is an adult celebration of winter in the Finger Lakes and will feature large-scale interactive outdoor ice sculptures, ice bars with specialty Frost Fest martinis poured through a frozen ice luge.
Nice luge.
Yes. Music, indoor food and spirit tastings, shuttle service to and from downtown parking areas to the event, and a huge fireworks display over icy Seneca Lake. Frost Fest has sold out the last 3 years, so get your tickets early for just $25 at the Geneva YMCA or online at brownpapertickets.com. That's a great event.
It is,
People
because it's
love it.
There's not many events going on this
Right
time
now.
of year because it's cold and people don't want to do
Yes.
anything. But the reason for that event is because it's cold. And
Yes.
you don't have to be outside the whole time. You can
Right.
be inside. And they have food and a lot of stuff going on inside. But they have ice sculptures and people carving ice sculptures with,
Whatever tools
chainsaws and stuff. And some of them are lit a certain way. And
yes.
yeah, it's something different. And the shuttle service from downtown Geneva makes it pretty easy to attend. But that's
Yeah.
coming up, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? February
Couple
3rd,
weeks.
Saturday, February 3rd. That'd be
2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks from today.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be.
And it does always sell out, so get your
Yes.
tickets.
Yeah.
And $25 is a pretty good deal.
It is.
When you consider how much you might spend if you go to a bar and drink frozen martinis out of an ice luge.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And it's for a good cause.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, what does this weekend's weather look like for us, Jim?
It looks great, actually, for this time of year.
Woo! Finally.
Friday, partly sunny, high near 36. So I think that Friday might be the first time we do get above freezing and start getting rid of some of the snow. Friday night, it'll only get down to 28. And then Saturday for the Women March, it's going to be really good weather again. Now, last year it was like 57 degrees. It's not going to be that good, but partly sunny, high near 43. So it'll feel
Yes.
like
For mid-January,
you might want to wear shorts.
Yeah, spring for us.
Yeah.
And then overnight Saturday, it's only going to get down to 33.
Awesome.
So it will still stay above freezing overnight. And then Sunday, mostly cloudy, high near 42. And then rain moves in later Sunday night, but still staying warm overnight with a low of 37. And next week should start out rainy, but a high near 46.
Wowie.
So
46.
maybe it's going to take a while to get rid of all that snow.
Yeah.
But maybe by Monday
Yeah.
it'll be gone. We can start thinking about
Or at least slush.
gardening and golfing. And
Yeah, right. Wishful thinking. All right, great. Thank you. Josh, what do we have going on in the news?
Okay, so we had some breaking news this morning. There was a large police presence reported to the newsroom around 9 a.m. Marked and unmarked police vehicles were seen outside F&A's Rhythm and Booze, located on South Virginia Street in Waterloo. Wasn't really clear what was going on, but we just received an update from the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, who says that a local and federal investigation is underway. That investigation began around April of 2017, and it's extensive. It involves welfare and Medicaid fraud. Turns out they executed 5 search warrants this morning.
Wow.
All in Seneca and Wayne counties. It's not really, they didn't really give a ton of information beyond that, so we'll be following this and we'll be watching it. They did say that no arrests were made, no charges were filed, but that it remains an active investigation, and it looks like the IRS is involved, hence the Federal Association.
So would you assume it's the owners of the operators?
It's strange because you have a tax prep and accounting business that was raided, a pizza shop, and then 3 residential homes.
Wow.
Different locations?
All different locations, all 5 different locations.
And we don't know if they're tied to the owners
It's totally it's unclear from what they've said thus far. One could assume that in some way, shape, or form they are all connected within this investigation.
So it's safe to say F&A's won't be open this weekend? Or
It's safe to say that they will not be open at least until the police presence leaves, which may or may not be happening in the near future. They were carrying, law enforcement could be seen carrying bankers' boxes in and out of F&A's this morning, and it was all taped off, dark inside. So obviously we'll be keeping an update on that. But with investigations like this, I always caution, it's usually pretty slow to get the real big hard facts out and in the public. So time will tell.
Yes.
Other news. How about snow removal? It's something we take for granted in central New York because it snows a lot here, right?
Yes, it does.
So over the weekend, we had that big, bad winter storm, and yours truly, I wrote a Sunday column just highlighting the fact that after I visited downtown and I had received some text messages from friends and family.
downtown Seneca Falls.
Downtown Seneca Falls, that there was a lack of action on snow removal on the sidewalks. So I write this column. And
not only the sidewalks, but the banks of the side of Fall Street were so built up from the snowplows that there was no access to get from the street to the sidewalk, and there was really the snowbanks were out into the parking spaces.
Correct. It was an intense snow situation.
Yes.
So you have all of this
But not something that we don't expect to get around here. It wasn't like a blizzard or wasn't
because
2
it had
feet
been
of snow.
Because it had been let go. It had become a difficult situation for the store owners who were there trying to shovel their way out of what giant DOT snowplows had created. That bank, the pedestrian crosses were completely blocked. The Fall Street, State Street sign, street sign was actually tipped at an angle because it had been nicked or slightly and banged out by one of the large trucks. So we ran the editorial and at the same time reached out to town officials for a statement for what is this policy. So we received the policy, which is to essentially say that people who work in those stores have to shovel out to the curb, and then the town will get to it when they can. The highway department will get to it when they can.
Okay.
That was well enough and fine. And then our town supervisor, Greg Lazaro, issued a statement to me, and part of his quote read, "Since when did Finger Lakes 1 become the complaint division for the town? Print the news, don't try to make it." That right there is an accurate description of how those of us in the media are treated when something is brought up that elected officials sometimes are not comfortable talking about or addressing an issue. Long story short,
he's since reached out to you.
Yeah, everything is fine. Everything is cleared up. The policy was very black and white. The policy does need fixing, and we have been given every indication that the entire town board is very interested in seeing to it that this is corrected. You know, we learned after that editorial was published that a lot of the business owners and stakeholders in the downtown district have been voicing concerns about this for a number of years. This is not a new issue. This is not an issue that didn't exist before a couple weeks ago, or before Winter Storm Hunter came along. This was something that had been stewing for a number of years, and it seems now that we're finally going to get some action on that. Just a really interesting...
It's very hard to operate a downtown retail, any business, in this day and age.
Parking and walking are at a premium.
Right.
And the mere safety aspect of you had just pedestrians, just literal people who were walking through downtown when I was there, walking on 5 and 20 on Fall Street.
Right.
It's not a safe environment.
Right.
Well, we needed to get some baked goods for a party, like some little pastries or something to bring to a Saturday night to a party. I wasn't going to the party, but my wife needed to get the pastries. And so we were like, well, we'll go down to Bee's Bakery or the Wildflower Cafe, something downtown, or Cafe 19 even. All were closed on Saturday. And I don't know if it was closed because they just closed because of the weather, or but if they had decided to open downtown, nobody would be able to get to them.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Because of the snowbanks.
And a lot of the issue also revolves around vacant storefronts. So if you have store owners or business owners or even employees who are supposed to take care of the space in front of their location, if you have large swaths of downtown or even just sporadic stores that aren't occupied, how are those, what's the procedure for those getting handled? We reached out to other neighboring communities, and almost exclusively Department of Public Works handles it. It's made a priority because it's a business district, and because it is such a kind of fragile infrastructure downtown. You don't have a lot of parking. Walkways are sort of crucial in that environment. So there's a lot of other news on fingerlakes1.com. We just sort of we wanted to talk about this because we felt it was a pretty strong indication of what good news coverage like this can do. This was an issue that had been an issue for a number of years, and now it is finally gaining some traction after we put a little bit of spotlight on it.
Good. Okay.
So that's that.
All right. Good. Well, let's take a look at our weekend events. Well, the main weekend event, the Women March. The march will start at the Women's Rights National Historical Park on the corner of Fall and Minder Streets, and then onto State Street, across South Park Street, onto Cayuga Street, through downtown, and finishing down the Water Street Hill at the Seneca Falls Community Center. There will be speakers beginning at 10 a.m. at the park, then more speakers beginning at noon at the community center.
Beginning and end of the march.
Yep. Shuttles will run from 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and make stops at the Tops Grocery Plaza on 5 and 20, the Liberty Plaza on 5 and 20, Minders Academy on Troy Street, and Generations Bank at 20 East Bayard Street. There will be a Women March breakfast buffet at the Gould Hotel beginning at 7 a.m. the morning of the march. It will be a $10 fee and will include eggs, French toast, etc.
Etc.
Yeah, whatever that means.
Always wondered what that means. What is the etc.?
Coffee, I'm assuming. Bacon. Don't assume there's bacon. That would be such a disappointment if there wasn't. Hospitality Concepts will offer food truck fare at the community center from 11:30 to 2:30, and of course, plenty of restaurants downtown. or at the shuttle parking locations. So sounds like there will be a lot of business. Hopefully snow won't be an issue this weekend with the weather.
The snow, it'll be warm, but the snow will still be there. I don't understand exactly what last year the pre-March speeches were all at the National Historic Park in the green area between the Wesleyan Chapel and the park offices by the mural. I don't know what they have planned, but we'll find out.
Yes.
I know that there's been some, what would you call them, Josh? Not Secret Service, but
State Police. As far as we know, State Police right now have been staking out various locations in Seneca Falls. It seems as though there might be a visit from a dignitary of some sort, probably at the federal level. Usually, state officials don't.
The Queen of England, maybe.
Yeah,
yes,
there you go.
Of course.
I don't know, but who would command such a? If you want to do some wild speculation, who would command?
I think you kind of
Michelle Obama,
default back to the usual
Clinton.
Suspect kind of things. Yeah, you got the
Clinton.
Clintons, the Obamas. It could be someone from the current administration.
Kathy Hochul is going to be there.
I'm not sure if
State Lieutenant Governor. Kathy
State
Hochul.
Lieutenant Governor would warrant that type of
Yeah, that's
protection.
why I know she's going to be there, and I don't think that.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. I
That's
doubt it'll
very-
be a scenario where they will be out marching among the people. I think
Harvey
it will
Weinstein, maybe.
It will be probably not.
No.
Interesting. Well, I'm excited to find out who. A little mystery.
We'll see.
All right, well, let's jump into our top local photos from the past week. Rachel Burkholder took this shot of the lakeshore in Geneva covered in fog on Friday morning before the wild temperature drop. That is so cool.
Yeah. That it was Friday, right, where it was like 50 in the morning and 20 at night.
20
Yes.
at night, yeah.
And 16,
Just dropped.
and it just kept getting colder.
Another from Rachel, as Friday's warm temperatures created a wonderful mystic fog at the north end of Seneca Lake as seen from Seneca Lake Park. Wow.
Without a doubt, that's the most photographed tree
Yeah.
that we get. I mean, from all sorts of angles, underneath it, showing the lake, that particular tree, people take a lot of pictures of it. And that's a great one.
Beautiful shot of it. Yes.
I don't know how long that tree can last. That's not. That's a bad angle.
It's a leaning tower
Right?
of branches.
It doesn't look like a very healthy tree.
But
I don't know a lot about the health of trees, but that does not look like a healthy
very
tree.
popular.
Yes. All right, from Robert Stopper on Friday in the late afternoon, an ice floe laden with debris slowly inched its way past the Lyons Erie Canal docking area. Branches, posts, logs, tires, and even a picnic table could be seen bobbing among the huge chunks of ice.
Ice jams.
my
This
goodness.
is what caused a lot of the
It's been a
flooding.
mess.
Yeah, a lot of the
Yes.
flooding in Cuyahoga County and surrounding areas was caused by ice jams. So dangerous stuff.
It's not a festival like Frost Fest.
No,
It's when
it's not a fun jam.
Ice
It's the
breaks
bad
up
kind of
and-
jam.
Yes.
and collects usually in your bridges, and then everything backs up,
Yes.
and the water has no place to go.
Not good.
Ice jam.
A nice jam. From Leah Bardo, this male cardinal was seen at a window feeder in Seneca Falls on Sunday morning. Oh my gosh, what a picture. Look at how his wing is out.
It is good.
Wow, we
Through
don't
a
see, we
window.
don't get bird photos like that. I haven't seen one like that. That's
that
cool.
bird is probably just landed.
Saying hello.
Great timing.
It's posing. Westerly winds blow snow across the hedgerow in the town of Milo on Saturday afternoon in this photo from Nancy L. Wright. Yeah,
Milo.
that is seen a lot of that, haven't we? And Rachel Burkholder shared this next photo as there was a lot of water going over the falls as seen from the Tacanic Falls overlook on Sunday.
I saw a photo of Taganic on Twitter or Facebook, I can't remember which, where the whole bowl is filled with fog. So you can't even, you can only see
really?
the very top of the falls. The rest of it's all filled with fog.
Wow, interesting.
If somebody's watching that took that, send it in so we can feature it next week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with this one, though, either.
No, it's
Rachel.
beautiful. Absolutely.
Tuganic is an amazing place
It's an amazing
to photograph any season.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, finally, from Stephen Kelbeck, a beautiful frosty start to the day on Monday in Canandaigua. Beautiful. That
There is
sun,
something beautiful
the
about
shadows.
a sub-zero morning.
Yes.
And usually when it gets really cold, it's clear.
Right.
As it was this morning here in this photo.
Clear, fresh air.
But it's also nice to see a nice sunrise over open water on the lake and green grass. And
Yes, it is.
one of these days.
It will come. It will come. All right, I know my favorite.
Okay.
So I think I'll kick it off. I think my favorite was the ugly tree photo.
You too, Jess?
That was
or a
my
different
favorite.
one? Yeah, I think it's unanimous. Photo of the week.
A lot going on there.
Rachel took that one, Burkholder?
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Yep.
Rachel's.
Congrats, Rachel.
Yes, good job. We love it, love it, love it. Thank you guys so much for sending in your photos. If you'd like to share your local photos from across the region, click the link in the Submit Content section at the bottom right-hand side of our homepage here at FingerLakes1.com. All right, Jim, what's going on in sports?
Okay, it is NFL Championship Sunday. So AFC Championship games at 3:05 on CBS. Jacksonville at New England. If you tune in at 3, you're going to have to wait 5 minutes. It starts at 3:05.
3:05.
And, of course, Jacksonville, in the front office, has Tom Coughlin, former Waterloo native and Super Bowl champ, and Syracuse University grad, former player. And they're coached by Doug Marrone, Syracuse University grad and former coach.
Yep.
Then he went to the Bills, and then he left for Jacksonville. And, I wish he was still at Syracuse, but a lot of people don't like him because of how he left. Because when he came to Syracuse, he said, it's my dream job. I'm
Really?
Like, of course. Syracuse, it's your alma mater. You be here forever. It's his dream job. So then he had some success, and he left for Buffalo. And then things didn't go great there, and he hightailed it out of there. He actually was positioning, I think, to get the New York Jets job, another one of his dream jobs, because he grew up in New York City, was a Jets fan. But that didn't work out for him, so then he ended up becoming the offensive line or defensive line coach for the Jaguars, and then eventually this year head coach, and he took a team that won 5 games in the last 2 seasons, and they're playing for a shot at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they sure are.
Against the dirty New England Patriots. And then the NFC Championship game follows this one on Fox. It's 6:40 p.m. So Sunday Night Football. I mean, and these big games, they last longer too. There's generally more commercials. So if it starts at 6:40, which they probably will delay the start if the first game goes a little late, you're looking at getting over around 10:30 at night. The Minnesota Vikings at the Philadelphia Eagles, and it should be great in Philadelphia. Like the Eagles, Philadelphia sports fans in general have been starved of championship level teams, and they got one this year, and they're one step away from the Super Bowl, and so that should be a great scene in Philadelphia. And then Minnesota is hosting the Super Bowl this year, so if Minnesota wins, they're home for the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And everybody remembers what happened last week.
Incredible.
Oh my gosh.
With that last second play.
Crazy.
It almost seems like WWF wrestling, like it's too crazy to be real.
Like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right.
But there you go. So
Yes.
And the one great thing about the NFL is, you might have assumed New England was going to be there, but nobody in the world thought Jacksonville would be here, and nobody really thought that it would be Minnesota, Philadelphia either. So there's a lot of parity in the league. So that's one reason why the NFL, I think, is so exciting. So Syracuse basketball, they won last night against Pittsburgh, snapped a 4-game losing streak. They don't play this weekend at all, so their next game will be next Wednesday against Boston College. Syracuse lacrosse practice, though, started this week. They had media day. That's a sign of spring. Cornell basketball's at Columbia on Saturday at 7 o'clock. Cornell hockey's home with Colgate. They're in Ithaca at Liner Rink Friday at 7, and then Saturday at Hamilton to face Colgate again at 7:30. High school basketball tonight will be at Minders. Number 1 Wayne versus number 2 Minders, both undefeated in the Finger Lakes East. It's the game of the year, really, in the Finger Lakes East. We had a great game Saturday in Lions, Clyde Lions. That game was crazy.
Oh, my goodness.
So we're a really great point of our schedule here with some really big games. And then Friday night, Newark at Minders, again in Seneca Falls. Upstate Hoops podcast coming up Sunday morning. We took a week off last week, so we're back at 11 a.m. On Sunday, we're going to have Justice Smith from the Lions along with David Weaver and maybe another member of that squad.
Wow.
Will be here with me on Sunday morning.
Nice.
So, and we'll have all your sports news and scores and reaction all weekend long in Finger Lakes 1 when you're done marching.
That's right.
March 1st.
That's right. Oh my goodness. Well, that was such a good game. You guys did such a great job calling that Lions.
I get a little too excited, I think, actually, for my taste.
It was good. It was enthusiasm.
It was enthusiastic.
It was good.
But
yes.
What a scene in that gym. So small, it was sold out.
I know.
It was only game in Section 5 because everybody else canceled because of the weather.
Right.
We had 1,200 live viewers. It's been viewed.
They couldn't cancel. They had already done it.
That's wild.
So I'm glad they didn't. It was a great game.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. 1,200 people live to be watching.
Especially
at a sold-out game.
Yeah. So there's more people watching than were there.
High school basketball.
But you also got to consider if 1,200 people are watching, how many of them are watching with someone else? How many people are on a couch with 3 other people?
Exactly.
Or the real number of live viewers was probably like 2,000.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's fun. It's fun doing something like that when that many people are watching.
Right, I bet. Yeah.
And I think it's fun for the people watching to see local content like that in such an exciting game live. And when they're sitting at home, by the fire with some hot chocolate, and it's freezing out.
Is that what you're picturing?
Yeah. They were nice and warm.
That's right. Nice and toasty in their house. Yeah, it was a great game. I hadn't seen. I knew the score before I watched it because I watched it afterwards. But so it was really interesting leading up to the very end where everything just switched. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's still worth watching.
Yeah, most games end in a close game. The last 2 minutes take like half an hour because there's timeouts and foul shots. Yes. For whatever reason, this game, it just was back and forth. Nobody called timeout. There were no fouls. It was just it ended so fast.
Yep.
And then they stormed the court, which is fun to see.
Yes.
So that was good.
Great game.
Are you going to march Sunday? Are you coming to Seneca Falls?
I'm not.
Not marching.
Well, I guess I really didn't think about it. I think I might. Oh no, I have a client on Sunday. I can't. No, so I'm not.
It came up very quickly this year.
Yeah, I didn't even.
Last
know
year
about
it felt like there was more build up, and I think a lot of the hype around it right now because they haven't been really doing a lot of press. They did a podcast this week with us, but there hasn't been a lot of weeks and weeks build up like there was last year following the White House and the election, and it just made more sense then. But now, I mean, this will be a very, very interesting weekend in Seneca Falls. It's always interesting to see how a small community like Seneca Falls handles that kind of rush of people.
Yeah, just like the It's a Wonderful Run. Yep. Well, it'll be great. Enjoy. Stay warm if you're going. I think that about wraps it up for us today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you'd like to drop us a line, send an email to contact@fingerlakes1.com. We'll be back next Wednesday afternoon. Until then, have a great weekend and stay warm. Bye-bye.